Hi, how you doing? My name is Gabriel Delgado Soto. Welcome to my channel. Today, I wanted to talk about something that's been thinking about for a long time, but now I'm starting to see more and more that it could be a much better path. So, a lot of people spend a lot of their time, doing what they got to do, and they think that if they want to help their neighborhood, they should go about doing it by donating or by uh, showing solidarity and things of that nature. It's great stuff. Great stuff. Don't get it twisted. Here's the major problem with that. In society, in general, you can get everybody to a good place. But if you do, their internal narrative at that point is going to be the most fragile it's ever been. Anybody can come in, start messing with either through propaganda, misinformation, disinformation, whatever. They can ruin the entire thing quickly. So, how do you actually help out a society? Well, it turns out that there's a much better way. Involves a little bit more work, a little bit harder, but it's worth it. So what you do is you learn about some specific thing you find in your environment that you're at odds with, be it pharmaceutical companies and their entrenchment in the government, how they get laws passed and things of that nature, or it could be farming, limited access, how only certain demographics are allowed to be in the farming industry, and it's harder for the others to get in there. Barriers of access. You learn about these things. You go out into your neighborhood, you talk to people, and you're not talking to them to tell them these things. Tell them it's good, you're teaching. But really what you're trying to do is get them to do things. So you want them to pick up books. You want them to learn critical thinking skills. You want them to educate themselves. That's what always, forget whatever you're fighting for and just use what you're fighting for as the vehicle to get these people to educate themselves. Because in that way, later on, should everything turn out well, it's going to be extremely hard for anybody to walk up in there with propaganda or some shit or misinformation and wreck the system. It's going to be like damn near impossible. But they got to have critical thinking skills first. They got to be educated first. They got to know what's going on. Without that, the system never holds in place. So when you start dumbing down America, you make it easy for people to come in with misinformation. And that comes through the privatization of schools, education. Now, I got to stop that. Just go all in on public schools. And when you do, fund them with the kind of money you're funding these private schools. Maybe you'll see yourself get somewhere as a country. But it's always a grassroots effort. It's always people talking to other people to get them involved in learning about their own lives, how they can go about improving it, and then hopefully it's a chain reaction. You can teach one person to think critically. 5, 10, 20 years down the road, you don't know how many people that person spread it to. So every person you teach, then becomes like its own little missile you can send out, where it can spread good knowledge and critical thinking skills and education. Obviously, you have what you fight for, but remember, if anything's going to change, it's going to change through education. So that should always be your main focus. Getting people to pick up books, getting people to read, getting people to learn, getting people to get curious. And that's how you go about changing stuff. Because, you can sit on a pundit all day long and just talk from dusk till dawn for years on end, and nobody ever changes. On the other hand, I don't know if you noticed this, but education, by the time you're done with it, you've been changed greatly by it. You know, you weren't just sitting there listening to some person giving you all the answers to everything. All that does is breed dependence. Now every time you have a question, you have to come back for that person to come give you an answer. That's just weird, man. Get educated. Get educated. Then you don't have to come back for answers. You have your own. It's not like you got to get, PhD or anything to be educated. You just need to be literate. Scientifically literate, Honestly, that might be the most important one, but we'll go with historically literate too. And mathematically literate. Those would be 3 basic cores. Everything else can kind of end up being superfluous. Stories, fiction, literature. People are going to pick that stuff up anyway. Yeah. Philosophy books can be good. Those are pretty decent, actually. Then we're going to add that one into the mix. Philosophy. I don't know about, literature, yeah, I guess. Personally, it's not. That stuff is more communication-wise as it is opposed to, like, getting people to get their own life situation in a better place. Because, like, you should see you'll hear these stories, of people who are, like, changing their neighborhoods a little bit at a time by just learning shit and then building in their neighborhood just to provide for other people. And that's good. What's even better is if he teaches everybody else how to do the same. And there's not one person standing up for the village, it's the village standing up for itself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I guess that's my 2 cents on Grassroots.